my name is Tahir Naeem and we are studying e-commerce. So far we had covered 19 lecture and today is our lecture 20. Today lecture is about web server. As I have discussed in previous lecture that there are two parts of web server and web client. While web client resides at the user side, while web server resides at the server side. It provides different services to the users. So this is outline of our today lecture. First of all, we will study web server. Then we will study operating system for web server. Then we will study performance of web server. Then we will look at e-commerce software. Then we will study integration with ERP software. Then we will study agents. What is web server? You know that web server is a machine that serves up the web pages request of a client in the internet. So web server basically serves us whenever we type something in our browser and the request is sent to web server, and the web server fulfill our required page and send us back the page. It is a combination of hardware and software. Decision as regards the type of web server is largely dependent on the volume and types of web activities. Basically, web server combines the hardware and software. Where various decision like how much volume of data is required and what type of data is required is basically decided in web server. So transaction processing sites generate dynamic pages with high traffic volume would need web server software that is more efficient and can be easily upgraded. So those sites who have a large number of users like Facebook, Google, or YouTube, or any other website that process large volume of requests must have efficient software and powerful machine, and that can be easily upgraded to new software. Operating system for web server. A computer must have an operating system to run programs. So as you know that every machine has an operating system. Basically operating system is a software that runs the hardware of be it your mobile phone or laptops or any other machines. So basically there's a collection of software which helps runs the hardware. It also provides input and output services to devices connected to a computer such as monitor, printer, etc. So operating system also serves the output devices, input devices like keyboard or in the touch screen, and output devices like your screen or printer. So these also interact with input devices and output devices. Commonly used web server operating system are, so basically the operating system are in Microsoft Windows NT Server, Microsoft Windows 2000, Advanced Server, Microsoft .NET Server, Linux for Unix based operating systems such as Solaris. Unix based web server are more popular and considered to be more secure. Linux is open source software which is fast, efficient, and easy to install. So basically there are different operating system available in the market which is used for web server. Here Windows NT or Windows 2000 or Linux or Unix based. So basically the Unix based software are more popular like Linux because they are efficient. So Linux is most widely used operating system for web server because they are fast, they respond fastly, and they efficiently process the program and very easy to install and maintain. Open source software is developed by the community of programmers who make it available for download at no cost. Basically there are two types of software. One is open source software and the other is proprietary based software. So proprietary based software are those software which is developed by the companies for itself, and its codes are not easily available to other people. While there is another open source software that is developed by community by different programmers who after make changes it make it available for other people to use. Web server software, common example of web server software are is just like Apache HTTP server, MS Internet Information Server or IIS, commonly known as IIS, or Sun One web server. So these are the commonly example of Apache is most widely used, while IIS is also used. Apache is open source code developed in 1994. It dominates the web because it is free and performs very efficiently. So most widely Apache is used because it's free of cost and works very efficiently. IIS comes with MS 2000 to Windows 2000 NT operating system. IIS inclusion of ASP provides an environment in which HTML pages and scripts can be combined to produce dynamic web pages. Web server computers have generally higher memory, more memory. They have larger and faster hard disk and fast processor than a typical desktop PC. So whenever we select hardware for our web server, we tend to select those system who has higher memory or greater memory, large memory than usual computer, and those having greater amount of hard disk space available because it is used to store a large amount of data, and also we use a faster hard disk technology available to them. We also select faster processor than usual computer because they have to respond thousands millions of users. Companies that sell web server hardware, different companies that sell web server hardware included Dell, HP, etc. all configuration tools on their website that allow visitors to design their own web server. Performance of web server. Performance of web server can be evaluated mainly on the basis of two factors. Throughput. First of all, the throughput is the one performance metric, which is the number of HTTP requests that particular server hardware and software can handle in the unit time. So basically throughput is the metric in which we measure that how much HTTP request is received by the server, and it can entertain how many types of HTTP requests. Because if we talk about Facebook or YouTube or any other web server, these are large organization, and throughput must be greater because there are a lot of footfall in this web server. Response time, which is the amount of time a web server required to process one request. Web server hardware architecture. So basically there are two metric, throughput and response time. Response time is basically the measurement of the time required a web server to process one request. Web server hardware architectures. We can divide e-commerce sites up to entire system. We can segmentize the different e-commerce sites based on different tire system architecture. Some websites are so large that we need more than one computer with each tire. Some sites like YouTube, Facebook, or any other sites like eBay, they have so many users that different computer is required for each tire. For a site which have to deliver millions of individual pages and process thousands of customers and vendors transaction each day, site administration must plan carefully how to configure their web server computer. So basically there are sites which have millions of users, so whenever the million of user request for services, it must be entertained without affecting the whole services. So site administration must plan carefully how to configure their web server computers. They may adopt two different approaches in this regard. So different two approaches in this regard. They can use centralized architecture approach where they can use few but very fast and large computer within each tire, and they may adopt decentralized approach using many less powerful computer and dividing workload among them. Web hosting choice ISP also of web hosting arrangement. So basically we can deal with these types of with two approaches. We can procure a very powerful computer who have a large memory size, large processor, and very but they are expensive, and but we procure them in a fewer amount, so they can entertain their user on the basis of this, or we can procure an ordinary computer who doesn't have so much powerful computation or processor or any other thing, and we divide these workloads among them. But these computers we procure them in hundred or thousands of numbers, and they and share the workload among them. Web hosting choices ISP also offer web hosting arrangements. So there are also other sites which offers us web hosting, or which is ready to host or website on their web server. Shared hosting means that a client website is hosted on a server that simultaneously hosts other websites and is operated by an ISP through its location. So one is share hosting. Share hosting means that two or more than two web servers are hosted at the same computer, and these services are provided by known as internet service provider. Other is dedicated hosting. In dedicated hosting, a web server is arranged by ISP for a client, but that client does not share it with other clients of the ISP. In both, so there is another dedicated hosting web server in which only our own website will be hosted by the ISP, and it will not share any resources with other websites. In both cases, ISP hardware but leases it to the client and responsible for maintenance. So in both cases, ISP provide a space and they are responsible for the maintenance. In co-location hosting, ISP offer on rent physical space to client to install its own server and hardware and software and maintain it by themselves. Company may also run a server in-house, which is called self-hosting. So another approach is that ISP or internet server provides basically provide us hardware and software, and we lease it from them and install our own hardware and software and maintain it ourselves. The other approach is that we run our website on our own computer, which is also known as self-hosting. E-commerce software. Size and objectives of e-commerce sites vary, thus variety of software and hardware products are developed which can be used to build those sites on. Types of e-commerce software that an organization needs depend on several factors. Typically, all e-commerce software must at least provide a catalog display, shopping cart capabilities, transaction processing. Large or complex e-commerce sites also use software that adds other features and capability. So basically, whenever there are different how much a catalog is displayed at the e-commerce site, what is shopping cart capabilities or transaction processing, how much amount can be transacted by the e-commerce site. So the other features include middleware, application integrations, web services, integration with ERP software, supply chain management software, customer relationship management are also known as CRM software, or content management software, or knowledge management software. So first we will discuss catalog display. A static catalog is simple list written in HTML code. One has to edit the HTML code to change it. A dynamic catalog stores information about item in a database, usually on different computer, accessible by the web server. It can provide photos, detail of a description, and search facility about the availability of item. So basically, a static catalog is basically it cannot be changed. If we want to change, we have to change the code. While the dynamic catalog, we have to display photos, description, and other facilities. Shopping cart. In early days, a farm-based shopping cart was used wherein the user has to remember and type certain information. It is now replaced by electronic shopping cart basket that keep record of the item customer has selected and allow customer to view the details of item selected. The customer can add new item or remove item. To order an item, customer may simply click edit item option. In detail of item include its price, product number, order identifying information are stored automatically in cart. Transaction processing system. It occurs when a customer clicks on a checkout or confirm order button and is subjected to some payment processing mechanism. It represents the most complex part of online sale. Calculation of taxes, shipping costs, etc. is important parts of the process. Some software enable a web server to obtain updating software list directly connecting to shipping company's website. Advanced function of e-commerce software. Middleware. Large companies establish connection between the e-commerce software and an existing accounting system by using a type of software called middleware, which is part of an e-commerce software package. Application integration. A program that performs a specific function such as creating, invoicing, bills or processing payment received from the customer is called an application program. We know that database management software store information in a structured way. Experts should properly consider that e-commerce software application program must be compatible and fully integrated with database management software. For example, if a company has existing inventory database, then the expert should select that e-commerce application program that supports such system. Web services. Web services are defined as a combination of software tool that allows a software into one organization communicate with other programs, application or network by using a specific set of standard protocol. For example, a company that wants to gather all financial management information in one spreadsheet can also service to automatically get bank account detail information about loan stock value from different independent sources. Similar web services can also be used to obtain price and delivery information about goods from different vendor supplier, review this information, place the order to right vendor and supplier and track the order till shipment is received. Integration with ERP software, enterprise resource planning or ERP. ERP or enterprise resource planning is a concept that integrates all the aspects of a business's, e.g. accounting, logistics, manufacturing, marketing, planning, project management, etc. at a single place. In ERP system such as SAP is expensive. E-commerce software is fully integrated with ERP system wherever it is used. CRM or customer relation management software. Primary goal of customer relation management is to understand each customer need and customize the product services to meet those needs. CRM software gathers data from customer activities on the website of e-businesses. The software uses this data to help manager to conduct analytical study about their businesses marketing. So ERP is basically the resource planning in which we integrate the ERP with our software, while customer relation management gathers data of the customer, collect the customer activity data, and so that it helps us to efficiently use this data. Supply chain management or SCM software. Supply chain involves all the activities associated with the flow and transformation of goods from a raw material stage to their finished stage and their supply to the end user. Supply chain management software helps companies to coordinate planning and operation with their partners in industry. SCM planning software helps the companies to develop demand forecasts using information from each player in supply chain. SCM execution software will tasks such as management of warehouses and transportation facility. Basically, supply chain management software helps us in organize the supply chain of the product from raw material up to the finished product and then delivery after the product, and it helps us to coordinate our activities with our partner or supplier so that we can forecast the demand of the product. Content management software. Companies have found it important to use the web to shape corporate information among their employees, customers, suppliers. Content management software helps companies control the large amount of data, pictures, graphics, and other files that play a crucial role in conducting business. It also offers different ways of accessing the corporate information which managers of the business might need for decision making. Knowledge management software. Companies have started to find ways that helps manage the knowledge itself regardless of the documentary representation of that knowledge. Software that has been developed to meet this goal is called knowledge management software. It has features that allow it to read documents in electronic format, scan paper documents, email messages, etc. so as to extract knowledge on. E-commerce software. Following are the names of some of the well-known e-commerce software: and Entershop Affinity, IBM WebSphere Commerce Professional Edition, and the Microsoft Commerce Server 2002. AgentSong. An agent is a software program that is capable of autonomous activities in the environment in order to meet set objectives. Agent can be used for companies filtering, web crawling, auctions, etc. For example, there are buyer agent, seller agent, each with their goals and constraints. They can negotiate deal on behalf of the user. Agent can monitor health indicators and alert the individual user under given conditions. These are the references from where I have prepared my lecture. If you have any questions regarding today's lecture, feel free to email me. Allah Hafiz.